Aman, Dean, welcome. Thanks for joining us. You've got the next 20 minutes to talk about Tibra.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Enjoy.
Dean, did you want to share the prezzo for me?
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, first of all, I think we've obviously been watching for a bit now, and I think there's been some really great presentations by John, I think it was, from Jane Street, and then Keegan and Leah from IMC. So I wanted to just put it to the rest of you that this is really your chance to, find an organization that works for you, and that as much as we're kind of presenting and going out and looking for great people such as yourselves, think of it as a two-way interview. And I'm going to have the chat window open, and I'll do my best to answer questions live. So I just want to put it to you, please ask questions during the presentation. If what we're saying is stuff you've heard before, and there is an overlap between what we do, what IMC does, what Jane Street does, and if you can steer the conversation in a way that helps you get a better understanding of the differences, please do that in the chat. So and if I miss anything, please to the organizers, please jump in. Okay, Dean, can you go to the next page for me, please? So really what we're trying to get across today is a little bit about what Tibra is about, and then we'll get into some of the tangibles about what it actually means to be a grad and how we structure the program, and hopefully answer some questions from you guys along the way. Next page. So a little bit about where we came from, and I'll try and skip too much of the story, but I'll focus a bit more on what it means for our culture. So we're a world-class diversified prop trading firm, and really what that means in tangible terms is that we're a prop firm, which means we don't take shareholder capital. That's a relatively common framework for some market makers, not all. So it's an important factor because it means that we don't take client capital, and that has quite a big impact on the way that we structure ourselves as a culture. We're not a client-facing culture. We're not a direct service provider. The service we provide is indirect to the markets. We're highly diversified, and what that means for you as a grad really is that there are opportunities in various different trading styles across programming languages, trading frequencies and domains, and asset classes. So that's generally a good thing, unless you really kind of want to be razor focused on something, in which case you might want to think about a kind of smaller shop. Aussie based, basically biggest offices in Wollongong near Sydney, but then we also have Sydney Bondi Junction or Sydney office, as well as our London office, and more recently Hong Kong. I don't know if we've got those names there. I think that middle bit there, our founders' ambition to make their mark, back their skills and judgment, and shape their own future has defined Tibra's culture. I think really what that means in practice, for those of us working at Tibra, is that we have very much a culture where the emphasis or the weighting of kind of presentation, or your style, or what you wear to work, that's much. We set a very low bar there. Those things are almost entirely disregarded, and that's not to say we're in any way kind of disrespectful of that. If you want to wear a suit to work, you're welcome to. But the thing that's going to define your success in this organization is the quality of your ideas and your willingness to speak up. And you, if you do speak up, you will be heard. I'd say that's one of kind of our defining values. Do you want to skip to the next page, Dean? What do we do? Well, we're a highly quantitative firm. Again, in practice, what that means is that you will not, if you join Tibra, be manually trading. You will be, and Dean will talk a little bit more, I think, about what life is like as a grad. But our tool of the trade is software development, and it's coding, and it's research. That's the role of graduates. That's what you'll do as an intern to varying degrees, and that's what you'll do as a more senior quant trader, which Dean will go a little bit into. And that's also essentially your responsibility as a quant, to kind of own, research, and implement those strategies. Next page. What sets us apart? So this is there's quite a few things here. I'll try and again though, if there's questions. I'm just going to have a quick look if there's one here that I've missed. I think they're all still from IMC, so I'll move on. So if you join Tibra, you'll be joining as a quant trader developer or QTD. This is a relatively critical distinction. So we give the ownership of strategies and the ownership of research and the ownership of their deployment to our quants, and that means that the burden and the requirement of software development skill is relatively high. It gives them quite a big degree of flexibility in terms of what they can do. They're not kind of limited by frameworks or limited by tools, but it also implies that there's quite a high kind of bar in terms of software development skills. Trading, finance, it's a highly competitive industry. There's a very, very active kind of natural selection process that goes on amongst traders and amongst trading firms. If you do not compete, you will not succeed and you will cease to exist. The end result is that you're going to find yourself in rooms with very, very smart people who are very, very passionate and who demand that of you as well. Just got a question, what coding languages do you use at Tibra? Primarily C++ and Python, although more and more there's a growing domain for kind of more direct hardware coding. A lot of those guys will code in Haskell, but you can imagine that other kind of low-level languages make an appearance depending on what's needed. Tibra Uni, so won't spend too much on this other than to say that as a graduate, you will be exposed to and have access to a very, very structured learning platform that will, so if some of this seems a bit daunting, don't worry, you will be given the tools to succeed. Again, the bar's pretty high in terms of your ability to take on those tools, learn them and get on with the job, but we will do absolutely everything we can. In fact, my job, probably about 80% of my job is to make sure that graduates have the tools available to them. So we take that very seriously. Open plan office environment. I'd kind of hope that Dean would be roaming around the office with his phone, but we got a bit worried that might not work out with Wi-Fi dropouts and stuff. That's all right. So Dean, I'm at home at the moment. I was in this morning, but Dean's in our Aussie office on the beach, and it's a pretty cool setup and big open plan office in a really pretty fantastic location. He's going to try and show you. Okay.
Sorry, guys.
that's a blurry picture of the road and the beach behind it. Staff benefits, yeah, I'll let you go over those, but they're definitely there. And Tibra Foundation, this is something I am super passionate about. We have a fraction of our profits goes to the Tibra Foundation, and many of us volunteer on the committee for the foundation. We're heavily involved. Oh, there's the beach. Yeah, nice. So we give to various charities. If you hop on the Tibra.com page, you can see a bit about what we're currently doing. We're going to be paddling from Stanwell to Thirroul this weekend to raise money for a charity, and I think that's really something that maybe seems small at your stage of the career where you're looking for a role and a career, but as you've been around, once you've been around as long as I have, you start to value those things, and they're part of what makes you get out of bed in the morning. Reward for performance. Yep. Thanks, Helena. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Look, you'll be rewarded for your performance, but you'll also be rewarded for the performance of your team. Quant trading is a team effort. You can be the best genius in the world, and props to you if you are, and we'd love for you to apply, but ultimately you need to be able to work in groups and leverage the experience, the wisdom and the diversity of knowledge that comes from working in a team. And that's how we structure our remuneration as well. I think I might have talked a bit too much already, so I'll might hand over to Dean.
Yes, I'll take over. Thanks for that, Aman. Yeah, so just kind of going over the kind of people we're looking for to apply for the grad program. Typically, there'll be a maths, engineering, finance, computer science, statistics, or some kind of similar background, but it isn't strictly to those only. Obviously, we take applications from any academic background at all. And our program itself is pretty heavily revolved around programming. So it does help to have kind of beginner, intermediate C++, Python experience. But again, it's not a requirement. We do have a pretty in-depth training program that sets you up with everything you need to know, especially in that dev environment itself. So it's definitely not a requirement. We're obviously looking for people that are natural problem solvers, analytical thinkers, and of the utmost, definitely team players. We do work in high performance teams at Tibra, especially in our quant teams. So it's imperative that you can work effectively with the team and try to maximize the performance of your co-workers. Obviously, you're applying for a trading firm, you're applying for a market making firm. So I hope you do have a keen interest in the financial markets and the trading industries. Again, it's not a complete requirement. We do have some people that are really analytical and just love the mathematics behind the financial products. So they didn't really have a background in the financial markets, but it's definitely something that I think I'd rate quite highly. Obviously, we're a high performance team, and with that comes high pressure environments. So it's really important that you can work under pressure. It's not always pressure, but definitely certain times through the week or certain times through the month when the market's really kicking off, pressure can really kind of come with you with certain deadlines that you need to meet. So it's important that you can work under those environments. And of course, we work for a financial firm, so it's really good to get behind the company when there's strong P&L performance, and also co-workers when they're having strong performance, because it really builds a good and positive atmosphere for the company. So just to go over what the current programs Tibra offers. So we currently have a grad program and a summer internship. So the grad program has 2 intakes in the year, so September and February, which are coming up, and both of those will be commencing in our Austinmere office. The grad program itself is a tailored onboard experience with fully internal training programs and plans. It's open to Australians and international candidates, and you can apply anytime through the year. The summer internship, 10-week program, also based in the Austinmere office. It's $15,000, including super, for a 10-week program while you're at university, so it's a pretty nice cash grab if you want. Commences in December every year, and it runs over the Christmas break. And this is only available to Australian candidates, and applications are open until April. So I just want to go over what our grad program actually entails. So it's a 1-year program, which is kind of broken up into 4 different blocks, which are 3-month blocks individually. So the first block is your dev block, where you'll go through more of a formal training in C++ and Python, and you'll be housed with one of our chief developers, and you'll be working on core infrastructure programs, and also start learning how to backtest in our systems and how to build up backtesting environments. The second block is quant fundamentals, where you'll be working with our senior quants, or one of our senior quants, and he's going to teach you all the skills and all the basics required to actually achieve effective research and development of quant-based strategies and how to really derive alphas out of the market. Thirdly, you're going to be moving into more of a market-making style execution-based desk. And there you'll be working on market mechanics and execution-based strategies and design. And from there, you'll also be designing from the ground up a strategy in our framework, from kind of idea through to actual execution itself. And it really kind of completes the quant developer kind of process, where you can learn from the alpha, design the alpha, and then implement it into a fully automated strategy that's backtestable. And then for the 4th block, we ingest you into one of the existing teams, where you'll take everything you've learned from the first 3 months and apply that to the existing strategies and the existing infrastructure we have for those other strategies that we currently have in production, and hopefully then you can try to evolve those strategies and improve that alpha as we go forward from there. So a couple tips of success. So my biggest one is really take the initiative. At Tibra, we're a high performance culture in a sense, but it's really also up to you. The headcount here is pretty small. There's only 100 people currently at Tibra, and the teams themselves are usually 3 to 4 people per strategy and market. So it's really up to you to kind of take it on your own and try to drive the strategy development forwards. Really take the initiative and go and talk to the traders, talk to some of the more senior quants as well about some of the ideas you're having, and really have that open discussion with some of the more senior people here to try to gain the knowledge and experience from them while you're learning and developing. And definitely, of course, always ask questions. It's something, Tibra is a really nice, lighthearted culture. We're definitely open to people trying to expand their own knowledge. So the more questions you ask, the keener you are to try to be better at your job and try to learn more. It's really beneficial for you. So that comes to the end of the presentation. So I guess we can open it up to some questions again. Can you see any questions coming through, Ahmad? I can't actually see it on my screen.
No new ones, no. I guess just to Okay, Ilana, sorry, what's the application process like? So I can probably take this one. So the initial stages of the application process are online testing. So we ask you to do both cognitive and coding testing. So you'll be basically asked to do a online project or solve a small problem, and then there's a kind of combination of cognitive and personality testing. And then the next stage is the interview rounds. There are 3 interview rounds, and these will happen in quite quick succession, but the initial one is a group exercise where you'll be partnered up with someone and you'll work, usually with me, to solve a problem together. So it's a 2-hour project where we sit down together and solve some problems. The next stages are more kind of traditional interviews with our quant team and our software development teams. And then there's a final more kind of soft interview where you get to meet our head of people and culture, which is my boss, and our CEO or managing director, to kind of introduce yourself a little bit and for them to get to know you. So that's I don't know if we call that an interview stage, but that's more of a get to know you session. So that's basically the whole process. What's your approximate intake percentage of applicants? So let me answer this in terms of the number. It's a good question. Let me answer this in terms of the numbers that we announce publicly. So we receive in the order of 5,000 applications annually. Our graduate cohort is usually half a dozen individuals per group, and we have 2 intakes per year. Now, I would just caveat that with, there are a lot of applications that go out when you're a firm such as ours and you put your name out there. So that 5,000 number, I'd encourage you not to just take the number of 12 per year and divide it by 5,000, and because that's not really a fair representation. I can't tell you off the top of my head what the number is like for people such as yourselves who are at university, who are going to take the application process seriously, and who are going to put in the time to really make sure they're giving it 100%. But I would say that it is a challenging process, just as working at Tibra is challenging. But yeah, if you're up for a challenge, come and hit us up. And if you're unsure as well, can I just strongly suggest, maybe Dean, if you go back to the internship slide, the internships are a really great way to, it achieves 2 things. One, it gives you a chance to figure out whether Tibra is really something that, or trading is really something you want to do, which I imagine many of you at this stage of your careers are not sure about. And also it allows you to present yourself to the organization. And we short circuit a lot of the interview processes for interns. So I would just really encourage you, even if you want to apply for the grad role, but you're still at uni, maybe just give the internship a crack. I think it's really something that candidates find rewarding. As a full-time trader, I assume the compensation mainly comes as compensation related to bonuses. Look, I mean, short answer is yes, but and long answer is I can't go into too much detail. But yeah, look, I would just add as well that bonuses at Tibra are not capped at all. So you can kind of imagine where that takes you. But yeah, it's a fair assumption. Do you accept international students? Yes. So Tibra is a registered training facility under the visa. I believe it's the 407 subclass. I might have got that wrong, but we're a registered training facility, meaning that we can accept foreign students. We will do everything humanly possible to get you here. With COVID, that's been tricky, although we're finding that now things are starting to improve. So I think the answer to that question is yes. Appreciate the questions, by the way. It's good to have a bit of a dialogue and make sure that what we're talking about is really what you guys want to hear. I think we're just about at time. Yeah, thanks Dulce for linking that. Yeah, obviously feel free to check out the website.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Aman and Dean. It was really informative. Thanks for telling us a bit more about Tibra's opportunity. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks very much, guys.
Cheers.